Good morning, folks. This is Jerry. It's April the 16th, 2019, Tuesday morning. And let's jump in and see what we have going on this morning. First of all, jumping over to forexfactory.com to see what we've got coming up today. You can see here we're sitting right in here right now. And so looks coming on from the rest of the day. There are not any red flag news events until 5:45 p.m. Central U.S. time for the Kiwi CPI numbers, which should be interesting. So between now and then, there's nothing really of significance happening as far as news releases go. Jump over to Zero Hedge. See what's happened overnight. Always look at the FX morning color to get a feel for that. There's some interesting news around the Aussie. The official RBA statement came out, and they talked about there was no need to change rates in the near term. But then they also had a relatively detailed discussion about easing, so much so that they actually talked about and started laying out some criteria for easing. So that's bearish on the Aussie this morning. And also when we get over to the New Zealand dollar Kiwi, you'll see there's a little bit of a sympathy move down in it as well. Looking at some of these other currencies, the most significant thing in here was, where did it go? Here, the CAD suffering still because of a downbeat business survey data from yesterday. And so that's weighing on the CAD. The rest of this is just commentary pretty much. There was some pound UK jobs and earnings data that came out in line. And here it says the cable largely shrugged it off. But if you do go look at the pound, it did move a little bit in a positive direction with that news. Not a whole lot, but it didn't react negatively to it. And there's some sentiment around the pound right now about with the Brexit extension and some things like that are making the pound a little bullish, in my opinion. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But as always with the pound, it's sensitive to the latest news event in terms of what's happening with Brexit, a tweet. So, the pound for me is a little iffy. It doesn't mean I won't trade it, but I just keep that in mind. So that's what we've got going on overnight. If we jump over to the site, I've updated the sentiment, and let's just walk through that. Bullish dollar, but that data is getting a little long in the tooth now. It's several days old. Euros, same thing, getting to be several days old. I did update the pound data here to say employment numbers in line with expectations on April 16th, and we had already talked about the Brexit extension approved. Not much on the Swissy or the yen. Here's the CAD bearishness from the business outlooks we talked about. Same with the Aussie, the dovish RBA comments, and a sympathy down move on the New Zealand. So where that leaves us this morning is I'm looking. We can look for. So with a bullish pound, back up with a bullish pound and a bearish CAD and Aussie and Kiwi, we could look for some long pound trades against these three bearish pairs. So jumping over to the charts, let's just pull up pound Aussie first. Okay, if you draw let's see here. If you draw some fibs in here from yesterday's low, you could also draw them in from here, but those are some significant lows. But I just drew it from the actual low from yesterday up to the high so far. And then I always like to see price breaking out to a new high compared to yesterday. So yeah, here's yesterday's high through here. Here's price today. And so if I drew a red line across the highs from yesterday, and that lines up nicely in the general vicinity of R1 pivot and the 38% fib. So I think this is a candidate for a long. Let me draw a shape in here. Really anywhere in here, the area of the blue rectangle. Would be a place that you could look to go long on pound Aussie. Pound CAD. Let's see here. We blew up through this area here. Had this here's that CAD reaction from yesterday. You could look. Let's see. So we've got the 50 pivot. I'm sorry, the 50 fib here, and the central daily pivot. Central daily pivot is always a nice reaction spot. You could look to go long in this area right in here. And I give you an area as opposed to a exact level. Some people like to come down and not actually take the trade until they see how price reacts in this level, and so it doesn't just blow through. Some people will just put a pending order maybe in the middle of this level or right at the pivot. So I'm kind of just giving you an idea of where you could look. And then the pound New Zealand, this, draw the fibs. This looks really, just really choppy to me. So that I'm not quite as excited about that one as I am. Although there is a nice level here of the central daily pivot and the 50 fib, and price has already reacted there. So this could be an area in here to look to go long. So that's it. Looks like we might have some longs setting up on the pound Aussie, pound CAD, and pound New Zealand. And always trade with the appropriate stops in place based on your trading plan. And I hope you all have a great day and a great trading day, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, guys.